254, third place honoree, Louis Hernandez. Second place goes out to a man known as Doug Whitman.
What up, guys? Lou here in Dallas, Texas for the Spartan 5K Urban race. Stay tuned after this race. I'm going to tell you all my thoughts about it and how chaotic it was this morning. Stay tuned, guys. All right, here for the Spartan Urban 5K race. This is where I'm staying, at the Sova. And the crazy part is, the race is over there in that park. Well, part of it is, at least. Hotel's pretty interesting. You'll see in just a second. All right, here's the room, which is, I've never stayed in a room like this before. I forget what the lady said, it's a micro castle, something or another. But literally something you see out of a movie. This is it. And a big entertainment. And then just the big bathroom. That's it. No nothing. Woo! As you can see behind me, it's raining. Well, on my head. Heading over to registration. Hotel is about a mile, so wasn't too bad. I have a walk to wake up and get going. Fun part's gonna be running on slippery asphalt and cement. So downtown Dallas, registration all right here. Hasn't opened yet. No one's in line yet. Merchant's over there with the only light. It's gonna be pretty cool. All right, after your check-in, went pretty quick. Merch tent.
You know, we've been here for a couple of days putting together this course, building some obstacles. But the one thing we've got no control on is the connection to Mother Nature. And she added one more. What's going on, Kevin Donahue, OCR legend, commentator currently in the world of modern pentathlon, and OG if there ever was one, the pride of New York.
Pass it back off again. We're going to get you out there. I'm not going to hold you long. I just want one strong a when I say Spartans, what is your profession? And then I'm going to give you a 5-count countdown and you're out of here. Spartans, what is your profession? And at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go!
That was the Spartan 5K urban race that was held down in Dallas, Texas. Hey, thanks for sticking around, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. That was a very fun race. Got a couple of thoughts to go over, so let's just dive right in. Again, like I tried on my last video with the Mythic race, is I try to capture a little bit of the actual footage of what it's like to get to registration, the view of everything for you guys instead of me just rambling nonstop. Hopefully you dug it. But parking, that was a weird thing because kind of like I showed you at the beginning, I actually found a hotel room that was literally a mile away from the venue, which I did specifically. So, for one, I didn't have to worry about parking in the morning downtown. And also, in my head, it gave me a chance to walk for a mile, taking about 12 minutes, 13, and just wake up, get my mind right, and just let my body get acclimated. And it helped because, as you saw, it was raining that morning. So just letting my body just get to that temperature, it just worked really well for me. So overall, as far as parking goes, I'm not even too sure where everybody parked. There was a lot of runners there, but I'm sure that there was info that was sent out about where to park. So hey, take that for what it is. Now, the biggest thing, as you saw with this race leading up to the race, was the weather on this one. Now, the day before, we had been watching it and it looked like it was going to miss us. And then that evening, when we were eating dinner, I just looked at the weather apps and yep, sure enough, we're gonna get wet. And it just didn't know how much rain we were gonna get dumped on us. So as you saw in the early part of the video was, yeah, it was a good steady drizzle the entire morning, which really pushed back the start of everything. So like my race was supposed to start at 7:15. Basically it was a 2-hour delay, so I didn't get started until 9:15. So from a just getting ready standpoint, it was a little bit mentally tolling, and just from the aspect of you're ready to go, you're there like normal an hour, a little bit after a little longer than an hour to get prepped, get ready, get my energy chews, get my water, get everything, and then just have to just stand there even though we were next to a building and we were getting rained on the whole time, but just being outside in the cold and whatnot, just, you had to stay mentally hyped up for this race. And then, as you saw, as the race was going on at the 2 mile mark, that's when we got that delay. We were stuck there for, I think it was about 12 minutes to where I guess lightning had come somewhere. And so they had to pause the race, which it was kind of crappy, but at the same time, it allowed us to catch our breath a little bit. But it just created this bottleneck for the next couple of obstacles because everyone was there with the chain carry and then the hoist. And it was kind of crazy. So, but everyone had to deal with it. And so we just all dealt with it. As you saw with the terrain leading up to this race, didn't know what kind of shoes to actually pack because I had run in a race, the Wichita Gladiator Dash 2 years ago, and it was in a park. Uh, it was at an outdoor park, and but there was also asphalt there. But wore my Solomon shoes, so I was dealing with shin splints at about the 2 mile marker, which made it, it hurt running that last mile. So coming into this race, I was under the same mindset of, is this in a park? Is it really downtown or whatever? But luckily, on social media, somebody got out there early and posted a picture of some of the obstacles and the A-frame where the finish was. And so I saw it and I said, okay, cool. It looks like it's most of this could be on asphalt. So I just packed my shoes that I normally go running in. And it proved to be the right thing because my feet, my legs, everything was fine the whole race. Now, moving on in the future, hopefully Spartan will get out there and put it in the email, let the runners know if this is their first urban race that, hey, wear your regular running shoes because you're not going to need big lugs for your shoes because 95% of this is on asphalt. Just a handful of sections was in grass. And, again, with the terrain, you saw what it was. It was no big deal. And then we step into the obstacles, and it was kind of a letdown to be honest, because they had not released an obstacle list because they said it was going to be a secret. So in my head and a bunch of other racers' heads, it was like, okay, cool. There's going to be something neat, something different. But alas, nothing different, all the same obstacles, which, when you do an urban race, you should really embrace that race and, add some buses to climb over with nets and just get really creative with an urban style race. And, maybe Spartan does this again next year or in the future. And maybe if they see this, it'll click in someone's head like, yeah, let's make it an actual urban race where we're jumping over cars, through cars, over buses. Just find things more urban-esque versus just the Spartan obstacles out of, in a trail run. And just we just put it in the streets and there was nothing different about it. And of course, the why we do these things is for the swag. Now, I didn't get a shirt because, hey, it's been one of the big hot topics was the shirt was kind of lazy in my opinion. And so I really didn't care for it. So at the end, I didn't bother getting a shirt because this is literally my only Spartan race of the year. And I only signed up for this Spartan race because it was an urban race. So, I had raced one last year, and it was a ton of fun. So I said, hey, this sounds fun. I'm going to sign up for it. And I'm glad I did. We got the medal. So let me just show you what the medal looks like in case anyone's ever wondering what it looks like. Not too bad. It's interesting. I'll put it that way. I mean, yeah, the little pieces do come out, as you can see, for your trifectas and all that good stuff. But yeah, as soon as I got this thing, as soon as I put it around my neck, I immediately took this guy out and put it in my pocket because I had read about people losing those little pieces, um, and they don't have one, and they're looking for extras. And so yeah, I was smart. But and then of course, again, they could have done something cool with it. They could have put urban. They could have done something neat with the lanyard versus just the Spartan 2026. But it is what it is. But of course, as you saw at the very beginning, your boy managed to pull in again for the second time in a row. I pulled in a podium, which I was really happy about. When I was driving down there, I had made a small little, mention to myself about, man, this would be cool if I could just pull in another podium because I'm always just a handful of bodies behind actually getting that podium. So when I was running this thing, I made a point to just keep going. And, there was one obstacle, the Stairway to Sparta, that I just, took the penalty. And that was because in Granbury, it had rained and I just slipped right off that thing. I had actually jammed my finger trying to get my hands up on the handhold, so I wasn't going to deal with that again. That's why I took the penalty on that one. I might have been able to run a little bit faster if I hadn't done the penalty, but hey, you live and learn, right? And then of course with the chain carry, man, I think I waited 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes maybe before it was my turn. So I was putting all these little minutes together. I might have been able to get to that, that second place for sure, and maybe even threaten for that first place. But, I was happy that I was able to get that podium. So that's 2 races, 2 podiums. I'm pretty thrilled about it. All this training that I've been doing seems to be working. Now, I don't have the plaque to show you all because this is where Spartan tends to drop the ball once in a while. I don't know what happened or whatever, but apparently they didn't have all the plaques there. They only had it for the elite field, I think it was, and everyone else who was in the age group divisions. Those plaques will be getting mailed out to us. Now, at the time of this video, 2 weeks later, I've yet to get any confirmation from them, so we'll see. I'd like to add it to my wall back there. But we'll see. But I'm happy I was able to get that third place finish. But overall, this was a very fun race. I'm glad I ran it. This is, like I said, this is the second urban race I ran. And if you're interested on my first one, I'll put a link, a little box on my video where I ran the Badass Human Race in El Paso, Texas the year before. It was an urban style race, a ton of fun. And you'll like it, especially if you're interested in urban style racing. And of course, if you like this video, if you want more OCR content just like this, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything, helps me out quite a bit. So until next time, go check out my Badass Human Race. But more importantly, Keep training, guys.